The rain hammers down on the empty parking lot behind St. Michael's Hospital like bullets on metal. It's 2 a.m., and the only sound cutting through the storm is the rumble of a Harley-Davidson idling near the dumpsters. Jake Reaper Morrison sits on his bike, leather cut soaked through, the Hells Angels patch on his back glistening under the flickering security light. He's not supposed to be here. He should be back at the clubhouse with his brothers. But sometimes a man needs to ride alone with his demons, and tonight those demons are loud. Then he sees it. A silver sedan pulls into the lot, headlights cutting through the rain. The driver, some clean-cut guy in a polo shirt, gets out, walks to the passenger side, and pulls out a wheelchair. But he's not gentle. He's rough, angry, and when he lifts the woman from the seat, Jake sees her face in the dome light, young, maybe 30, beautiful, even with fear carved into her features. She's saying something pleading, but the rain swallows her words. The husband wheels her toward the entrance, then stops, looks around. And then this is what makes Jake's blood run cold. He parks the wheelchair under the overhang, turns, and walks back to his car. Without her. At 2 a.m., in a thunderstorm. He's leaving her there like trash. Jake kills his engine. The rain sounds louder now. The woman in the wheelchair is calling out, her voice finally reaching him across the lot. Please, Daniel, please don't do this. The sedan's taillights glow red. The engine revs. And Jake Morrison, a man who swore he'd never play hero again, who learned long ago that saving people only gets you hurt, feels something crack open in his chest. He's moving before he realizes it. Boots splashing through puddles, his 6'3" frame cutting through the storm like a force of nature. Hey! His voice booms across the parking lot. Hey! The sedan stops. Daniel Mitchell freezes, hand on the gear shift. Through his rearview mirror, he sees what has to be his worst nightmare. A massive biker with a death's head ring and murder in his eyes, heading straight for him. Jake reaches the car in seconds, slams his palm on the hood. Get out. I don't want any trouble, Daniel stammers. But he doesn't get out. He's calculating. Jake can see it. Weighing his options. That's what these types do. Everything's a calculation. You leaving your wife here, in a storm, middle of the night. Jake's voice is deadly quiet now, which is somehow worse than yelling. You don't understand. This is complicated. We're separated, and I get out of the car. Something in Jake's tone must break through because Daniel's hand trembles as he opens the door. He steps out, immediately soaked, his expensive haircut plastering to his skull. Behind them, the woman's voice cuts through. Jake, don't! He's not worth it. Both men turn, surprised. She knows Jake's name. Then Jake realizes she must have seen his name patch on his cut. Or maybe she's just guessing. Either way, there's a strength in her voice that doesn't match the helplessness of her situation. Ma'am, Jake calls back, not taking his eyes off Daniel. You know this piece of work? He's my husband. Her voice cracks. Soon-to-be ex-husband. And I'm fine. Really, I can call someone. At 2 a.m., in this, Jake gestures at the storm. Daniel finds his courage, or his stupidity. Look, man, this is between me and my wife. She was supposed to be staying with her sister, but she refused to go, so I brought her here. The hospital will take care of her until... Jake's fist connects with Daniel's jaw before the sentence finishes. It's not a hard punch, not by Jake's standards, but it drops Daniel like a stone. He lands in a puddle, blood mixing with rainwater. Here's what's going to happen, Jake says, standing over him. You're going to get back in your car. You're going to drive away. And you're never going to come near her again. Because if I see you, if I even hear your name connected to hers in a way that sounds like trouble, I will find you. And brother, you don't want that. Daniel scrambles up, clutching his jaw, and practically falls back into his car. The sedan peels out, fishtailing slightly before disappearing into the night. Jake stands there for a moment, rain pounding on his shoulders, wondering what the hell he just did. Then he turns to face the woman in the wheelchair. She's watching him with eyes that are equal parts wary and grateful. Dark hair plastered to her face, hospital gown visible under a thin jacket. She looks both fragile and fierce. Thank you, she says. I think. Though you didn't have to hit him. Jake walks over, and for the first time in years, he doesn't know what to say. Up close, she's even more striking: high cheekbones, full lips, and eyes that have seen too much pain for someone so young. "You got somewhere to go?" he finally asks. She laughs, bitter. "Not really. My sister's place, but she's in Seattle for work. My parents are—" She shakes her head. "It's complicated." "What happened to you?" The question comes out rougher than he intends. "Car accident, 6 months ago." She looks down at her legs. "Spinal injury." Daniel was driving. He was texting. She meets Jake's eyes again. "He walked away without a scratch. I walked away without walking." Jake feels that crack in his chest widen. "And he just left you 3 months ago, said he couldn't handle it. Too much pressure, too much responsibility." Her voice is steady, but Jake can hear the ocean of hurt underneath. "Guess tonight he decided even dropping me in my sister's place was too much effort." "What's your name?" "Sarah. Sarah Mitchell." She pauses. Soon to be Sarah Chen again, if the divorce ever goes through. "I'm Jake, but you knew that already." "The Reaper," she says, reading his road name patch. Cheerful. Despite everything, Jake almost smiles. "It's a long story. I've got time." She gestures at herself at the empty parking lot. "Clearly, my social calendar just cleared up." They're both soaped now, and Jake can see Sarah starting to shiver. He makes a decision that his club president, Ghost, is going to have his head for. "Come on," he says, moving behind her wheelchair. Sarah's hands immediately grip the wheels, stopping him. "What are you doing? Taking you somewhere dry? You'll catch pneumonia out here. I don't even know you. You're—" She glances at his cut, at the Hell's Angels patch. "Not exactly the type my mother warned me to trust." "Your mother probably had a point," Jake admits. "But right now, I'm the best option you got. Hospital's closed to walk-ins this time of night. You got no family nearby, and I'm guessing your ex took your phone and wallet, judging by the fact you haven't called anyone." Sarah's silence confirms it. "I've got a place. Clean, safe. Guest room. You can charge your phone, call whoever you need to call, figure out your next move." He pauses. "Or I can leave you here and hope security finds you before hypothermia sets in. Your call." She studies him for a long moment. Jake knows what she's seeing. 6'3", 220 pounds of muscle, tattoos visible on his neck and hands, the kind of face that's been in too many fights. He should terrify her. But something in her eyes shifts. Maybe it's the fact that he hasn't touched her chair again after she stopped him. Maybe it's the way he's standing in the rain, waiting for her permission. Maybe she's just tired of being afraid. "Okay," she says quietly. "But if you're a serial killer, I'm going to be really disappointed. If I were a serial killer, I'd have picked an easier target." This time she actually smiles. It transforms her face, makes her look younger, lighter. Jake feels something in his chest that he hasn't felt in 5 years, not since Emily died. He pushes it down hard. He wheels her to his bike, and then they both stare at it. The Harley is beautiful custom paint, chrome gleaming even in the rain, but it's definitely not wheelchair accessible. "I didn't think this through," Jake admits. "You strike me as more of an act first, plan never kind of guy." "Pretty accurate." He pulls out his phone, makes a call. "Tiny?" "Yeah, it's Reaper. I need a favor. You still have your van?" 20 minutes later, a beat-up white van pulls into the lot. The driver who steps out is anything but tiny. He's 6'5", built like a refrigerator, with a beard that reaches his chest, and the same Hell's Angels cut as Jake. "Reaper, what the hell?" Tiny's voice booms. Then he sees Sarah and his expression shifts entirely. Oh man, what happened?" "Long story. Can you help me get her in the van? We need to get her dry and warm." Tiny doesn't hesitate. Between the two of them, they get Sarah and her wheelchair into the van with surprising gentleness. Jake notices how careful Tiny is, how he asks permission before touching the chair, how he makes sure Sarah's comfortable. This is the thing people don't understand about the club. Yeah, they're outlaws. Yeah, they've done things that would make civilians uncomfortable, but they have a code, and that code includes protecting people who can't protect themselves. "We go into the clubhouse?" Tiny asks as he starts driving. Jake hesitates. The clubhouse is a lot, especially at 2 a.m. on a Friday night. There'll be brothers drinking, music playing, probably a poker game going in the back. But his apartment is tiny, barely big enough for him, let alone for someone who needs space for a wheelchair. Yeah, he decides. Clubhouse. Sarah's been quiet, and when Jake glances back at her, she's staring out the window, watching the city blur by. Her jaw is set, and he recognizes that look. She's bracing herself, preparing for whatever comes next. You okay? He asks. She doesn't look at him. Do I have a choice? Yeah. You always got a choice. Say the word and Tiny will take you wherever you want to go. Shelter, hotel, wherever. Now she does look at him, searching his face for something. Why are you doing this? Jake doesn't have a good answer. Doesn't have any answer really, except for that crack in his chest that keeps widening every time he looks at her. Because somebody should have done it for someone I cared about, he finally says. And they didn't. The van goes quiet except for the rain and the sound of the wipers. They pull up to the clubhouse 15 minutes later. It's an old warehouse converted into a fortress, high walls, security cameras, the Hells Angels insignia painted 20 feet tall on the side. Motorcycles line the front like a metal garden, and even through the rain, Jake can hear music thumping from inside. Sarah's eyes go wide. It's not as scary as it looks, Tiny offers. Well, mostly. Jake shoots him a look. Not helping. They get Sarah inside through the side entrance, which leads directly to the private quarters rather than the main common room. The hallway is quieter here, decorated with photos of club runs, memorial patches for fallen brothers, and the occasional bullet hole from parties that got too rowdy. This is insane, Sarah mutters, but Jake catches a hint of wonder in her voice. Yeah, well, normal is overrated. They reach one of the guest rooms, clean, simple, with a bed, a dresser, and most importantly, a bathroom with enough space for a wheelchair. Jake had it remodeled 2 years ago, when one of the brothers' fathers needed a place to recover after surgery. It's not the Ritz, Jake says, but it's dry. Sarah wheels herself in, looking around. It's perfect. Thank you. Tiny appears with towels, blankets, and surprisingly a cup of hot tea. Chamomile, he says gruffly. Good for shock. My mama used to make it. Sarah takes it with both hands, visibly touched. Thank you, Tiny. He ducks his head, embarrassed, and shuffles out. Jake lingers in the doorway. There's a lock on the inside. Use it. No one will bother you, but you'll feel safer. Will you? She asks. Will I what? Bother me. Jake meets her eyes. No, ma'am. I'll be right down the hall if you need anything, but I won't bother you. She nods slowly. I believe you. I don't know why, but I do. Jake makes it exactly 10 feet down the hallway before he runs into Ghost. Marcus Ghost Williams is the club president, 45, silver threading through his black hair, with eyes that miss nothing and a presence that commands respect without him ever raising his voice. He's standing in the hallway with his arms crossed, and Jake knows he's in for it. Brother, Ghost says mildly, want to tell me why Tiny just reported that you brought a civilian woman in a wheelchair to the clubhouse at 3 a.m.? It's complicated. I've got time. Jake tells him. All of it, the parking lot, Daniel. The decision to bring Sarah here. Ghost listens without interrupting, his expression unreadable. When Jake finishes, Ghost is quiet for a long moment. Then he sighs. You punched a civilian. He deserved it. Not disagreeing, but he could press charges. He won't. Guys like that don't want the attention. Plus, he was literally abandoning his disabled wife in a storm. Pretty sure he doesn't want that on record. Ghost concedes the point with a nod. And this woman, Sarah. What's your plan? Help her get back on her feet. Figuratively speaking, Jake winces at his own word choice. Find her somewhere safe to stay. Make sure her ex doesn't come back around. Then she goes on with her life. That's it. Ghost studies him with those two knowing eyes. When's the last time you brought a woman here? Jake doesn't answer. They both know the answer. Emily. 5 years ago. Before the cancer took her. I'm not trying to replace her, Jake says quietly. Didn't say you were. Ghost claps him on the shoulder. But brother, saving someone and saving yourself aren't the same thing. Make sure you know which one you're doing. He walks away, leaving Jake alone in the hallway, with those words echoing in his head. Sarah wakes to sunlight streaming through unfamiliar windows and the smell of coffee and bacon. For a moment she's disoriented, still half caught in a dream about the rain and her husband's taillights disappearing. Then she remembers. The biker. Jake. The clubhouse. She sits up, finds her wheelchair exactly where she left it, and maneuvers herself into it. Someone tiny probably left fresh clothes folded on the dresser, jeans, a soft t-shirt, even socks. They're not her size, but they're clean, and that alone makes her throat tight with gratitude. The bathroom has grab bars and a roll-in shower. Sarah stares at it for a long moment, then bursts into tears. She's not sure why she's crying. Maybe because it's been 6 months since the accident and Daniel's apartment had stairs leading to the only bathroom. Maybe because a biker gang showed more consideration for her needs in one night than her husband had in half a year. Maybe because she's exhausted and scared and has no idea what happens next. Or maybe because, for the first time since the accident, someone treated her like she mattered. She pulls herself together, showers, dresses. When she opens the door, she follows the sound of voices and laughter to what must be the common room, and stops dead. The room is massive industrial chic with exposed brick, motorcycle parts as art on the walls, a bar that runs the length of one side, and a breakfast spread that could feed an army. Because there is an army, at least 15 bikers in various states of consciousness, all wearing the same cuts as Jake, all looking like they could bench press a car. They all turn when she enters. The room goes quiet. Sarah's hands tighten on her wheels. This was a mistake. What was she thinking? These are Hell's Angels. These are dangerous men. She should... Sarah! Tiny's voice booms from the kitchen. Perfect timing. You like your eggs scrambled or fried? The spell breaks. The bikers go back to their conversations. One guy older, with silver hair and kind eyes, stands and pulls out a chair at one of the tables, then realizes the problem and smoothly moves it aside to make space for her wheelchair. Dosed, he introduces himself. Club president. You met Reaper last night. I did. Thank you for letting me stay. Any friend of Reaper's is welcome here. His eyes search hers. You doing okay? That was quite a night, you add. Before she can answer, Jake appears from somewhere, 2 cups of coffee in hand. He looks different and daylightless, like a dangerous stranger, and more like a tired man who probably didn't sleep much. He's in jeans and a plain black t-shirt. His hair still damp from a shower, and Sarah notices details she missed in the rain. The scar through his left eyebrow, the way his shoulders carry tension like armor, the gentleness in his hands as he sets a coffee cup in front of her. Cream, no sugar, he says. Guessed. How did you took Tiny's tea black last night, but you made a face. Figured you're not a black coffee person, but you were too polite to say anything. It's such a small thing, such a normal observation, but something about it cracks Sarah's composure. This dangerous biker noticed how she takes her coffee, paid attention to her comfort. Thank you, she manages. Tiny brings over a plate piled high with eggs, bacon, toast, and fruit. Eat, he commands. You're too skinny. I'm really not. Eat. Sarah eats, and discovers she's starving. When's the last time she had a real meal? The hospital food Daniel would occasionally bring her, the crackers she'd been living on. Around her, the clubhouse comes alive with morning rituals. Brothers argue about motorcycle parts and weekend ride plans. Someone puts classic rock on the stereo. Lynyrd Skynyrd, Simple Man. A card game starts up in the corner. Jake sits across from her, not saying much, but his presence is solid, grounding. This is not what I expected, Sarah finally says. What did you expect? I don't know. More threatening. More Sons of Anarchy? Jake almost smiles. TB gets it wrong. Yeah, we're outlaws. Yeah, we've done things. But this, he gestures around the room. This is family. Brotherhood. We take care of our own. Am I your own now? The question hangs between them. Jake's eyes meet hers, and for a moment Sarah sees past the armor to something raw underneath. You are if you want to be, he says quietly. After breakfast, Jake offers to show Sarah the garage. It's a huge space filled with bikes in various states of repair, tools that look both well used and well loved, and the kind of organized chaos that speaks to people who know what they're doing. This is my church, Jake says, running his hand along a partially disassembled Harley. When everything else goes to hell, I come here. Work with my hands. Fix things. Do you fix everything? Sarah asks. Not everything. Some things stay broken. He doesn't look at her when he says it. Sarah wheels closer to the bike he's working on. Can you teach me? Now he does look. Teach you what? Whatever this is. Motorcycle stuff I've got. She gestures at herself. A lot of free time these days. And I'm tired of feeling useless. You're not useless. I can't walk, Jake. I can barely take care of myself. My husband left me. My parents haven't called since the divorce started because they blame me for giving up on my marriage. I'm 31 years old, and last night I was abandoned at a hospital like trash. Her voice cracks on the last word, and she hates herself for it. Hates the tears that are threatening again. Jake sets down his wrench and moves to sit on a workbench so they're eye level. You want to know why they call me Reaper? The change of subject throws her. Okay. 5 years ago I had a woman I loved, Emily. She was everything. Light where I was dark. Saw the good in me when I couldn't see it in myself. His jaw tightens. She got sick. Cancer. Aggressive. By the time they found it, it was too late. Jake, I'm so sorry. Let me finish. He takes a breath. I watched her fade. Watched her suffer. And I couldn't fix it. Couldn't save her. I'm 6'3", 220 pounds of muscle, and I was useless. The day she died, I went to the cemetery after, sat by her grave for hours. One of the brothers found me there at dawn, said I looked like the Grim Reaper himself, just waiting, name stuck. Sarah's chest aches for him, that's heartbreaking. Point is, Jake continues, I know what it's like to feel helpless, to have your body work fine but your heart be shattered. You think you're broken because you can't walk? Sarah, you survived. You're sitting here, in a biker clubhouse, asking to learn about motorcycles, after your husband tried to throw you away. You're not broken. You're steel. I don't feel like steel. Steel has to be forged in fire. Right now, you're in the fire, but you're going to come out stronger. He meets her eyes. And yeah, I'll teach you about bikes. Not because you need to be useful, you already are, but because you want to learn. That's reason enough. For the first time since the accident, Sarah feels something shift inside her. Not hope exactly, not yet, but maybe the possibility of hope. They're in the garage 3 hours later, Sarah's hands covered in grease as Jake shows her how to change spark plugs when Ghost appears in the doorway. Reaper, we got a problem. The tone makes Jake's whole body tense. What kind? The husband. He's outside, demanding to see Sarah. Sarah's stomach drops. No, I don't want to see him. You don't have to, Jake says immediately. Say the word and we send him away. But Sarah surprises herself. Actually, maybe I should. Maybe it's time. Jake looks like he wants to argue, but Ghost nods. We'll be right there. He won't touch you. They go outside and there's Daniel, looking worse for wear. His jaw is bruised from Jake's punch, his expensive clothes rumpled, and there's a desperateness in his eyes that Sarah recognizes from the last few months of their marriage. Sarah, thank God, he starts. I've been worried sick. These people wouldn't tell me if you were okay. I'm fine. Her voice is steady. No thanks to you. Look, last night was a mistake. I was stressed. I wasn't thinking clearly. Come home. We can work this out. Home? You mean your apartment with the stairs I can't climb? The one you moved into specifically because it wasn't accessible? Daniel has the grace to flinch. We can find somewhere else, somewhere better. Stop. Sarah rolls forward slightly. Behind her, she can feel Jake and Ghost and half a dozen other brothers forming a wall of leather and muscle. It should be intimidating, but instead, it makes her feel brave. You don't get to do this, Daniel. You don't get to abandon me in a parking lot and then show up the next day pretending you care. I do care. You're my wife. No. I was your wife when I could walk, when I was useful to you. The moment I became inconvenient, you left. She takes a breath. And you know what? I'm grateful, because staying with you would have broken me in ways this accident never could. Daniel tries arguing, tries guilt-tripping, tries everything. But Sarah is immovable. Behind her, Jake says nothing, but his presence speaks volumes. Finally, Daniel's mask cracks. You're really choosing them, these criminals, over your own husband? Sarah looks at Jake, at Ghost, at Tiny and the brothers, men who took her in without question, fed her, protected her, treated her with more respect in 12 hours than Daniel had in 6 months. They're not criminals, she says quietly. They're my family. And you're not my husband. Not anymore. Sign the divorce papers, Daniel. It's over. He leaves, finally, tires screeching. The moment his car disappears, Sarah's hands start shaking. The adrenaline that kept her strong drains away, leaving her trembling. Jake kneels beside her wheelchair. "You okay?" "I just told off my husband." Ex-husband, with a biker gang as backup. "I'm not sure okay covers it." "You were amazing," he says, and there's something in his voice that makes her look at him, really look at him, and she sees it. The way he looks at her, like she's not broken, like she's not a burden, like she's everything. "Jake," she whispers. "Yeah? Thank you for seeing me." His hand finds hers, careful, gentle. How could I not? 8 months later, Sarah Chen Morrison, she kept both names because they both mean survival, wheels through the clubhouse like she owns the place. Because in a way she does. She's the club's official mechanic. Now the brothers discovered she has a gift for diagnosing engine problems that even their most experienced guys miss. Her wheelchair has been customized with tool holders and a hydraulic lift system that Tiny and Jake built together. She can strip down a carburetor faster than most of the brothers can find one. But more than that, she's become the heart of the clubhouse. The one who notices when someone's struggling. Who organizes the charity rides for kids with disabilities. Who taught the brothers that strength comes in many forms. And Jake? Jake is different too. The man who called himself Reaper, who wore death like a second skin, now smiles, laughs, lets himself be happy. They're in the garage again, their spot when he finally says the words that have been building for months. "I love you." Sarah looks up from the motorcycle she's working on, grease on her cheek, eyes bright. "I know. You know? Jake, you rebuilt my entire wheelchair from scratch so it would fit on the back of your bike. You take me on rides every Sunday. You hold my hand during physical therapy, even when I'm crying and angry and mean. You look at me like I hung the moon." She wheels closer. "Of course I know. And I love you too, you beautiful disaster of a man." He kisses her then, and it tastes like motor oil and coffee and second chances. Later, when they're curled up together on the couch in the common room, the brothers long since learned to give them privacy when they get that look. Sarah says, "Do you ever think about what would have happened if you hadn't been there that night?" Jake's arms tighten around her. "Every day. I think about it too, about how close I came to giving up. To believing Daniel was right, that I was a burden, that I was broken beyond repair. You were never broken. I know that now." She turns to look at him. "Because you showed me, you and the brothers, you showed me that family isn't about blood or obligation. It's about choice, about showing up, about loving someone's scars as much as their strengths. You saved me too, you know," Jake says quietly. "I was just existing before you, going through the motions. Emily's death broke something in me, and I thought it would stay broken forever. But you," his voice cracks, "you showed me it's okay to live again, to love again." "We saved each other," Sarah whispers. "The biker and the woman in the wheelchair, who would have thought?" "Ghost did," Jake laughs. "Told me that first night I needed to figure out if I was saving you or saving myself. Turns out it was both." From across the room, Ghost raises his beer in silent salute. A year after that rainy night in the hospital parking lot, the clubhouse holds a different kind of party. Sarah and Jake's wedding. It's not traditional. The aisle is wide enough for her wheelchair. The vows include promises about motorcycle maintenance and who gets the garage on Saturdays. And the officiant is a biker named Tiny, who cries through the entire ceremony. Daniel sent a message through his lawyer, a congratulations card with a note. "I'm sorry I couldn't see what you needed. I'm glad you found someone who could." Sarah showed it to Jake, who just shrugged. "Some people learn, most don't. Either way, not our problem anymore." As they exchange rings as titanium with tire tread patterns, hers matching with a diamond that catches the light. Sarah thinks about that night, about being abandoned, about a stranger on a motorcycle who refused to look away, about how sometimes salvation comes roaring up on a Harley in the middle of a storm. "I now pronounce you husband and wife," Tiny booms, tears streaming down his face. "Reaper, you may kiss your bride." And as Jake leans down to kiss her, as the clubhouse erupts in cheers and revving engines, Sarah thinks, this is what home feels like. This is what being chosen feels like. This is what real love feels like. Not perfect, not traditional, but real. The brothers rev their engines in celebration, the sound echoing like thunder. Sarah laughs against Jake's lips, feeling the vibration in her chest. "Ready to ride, Mrs. Morrison?" Jake asks, his forehead against hers. "With you? Always." They modified his Harley with a sidecar custom built, painted midnight blue with silver stars, equipped with all the safety features Sarah needs. It's beautiful. It's safe. It's freedom. As they pull out of the clubhouse, Sarah's arms around Jake's waist. The sidecar can wait for tomorrow. Tonight she wants to feel the wind and hold on to her husband. She looks back at the brothers her family waving and cheering. Tiny is still crying. Ghost is grinning. And somewhere in the night sky, Sarah likes to think Emily is smiling too. Glad her biker found his way home. Glad love got a second chance. Glad that from the ashes of one ending came the beginning of something beautiful. The motorcycle roars to life. And they ride off into a future neither of them could have imagined, but one now faced together. Always.